and welcome to this Zwift Run live stream. My name is Stephen. I'm a Zwift ambassador, a community run leader and your host today. There's a countdown clock up there showing how long to go before the start of the main event, so you've probably got time to tidy the kitchen, take the trash out and grab yourself a drink before we get going. If you've never seen Zwift before, it's an online game where athletes from all over the world train, compete against and socialise with each other live and in real time. All you need to take part is a footpod, an internet connection, access to a treadmill and a device on which to run the Zwift app. You can use a computer, an iPad, an iPhone, a high-end Android device. Zwift even works on Apple TV. If you have a smart treadmill, you don't even need a footpod, as your treadmill will send your speed direct to Zwift. Once you've logged in and made sure your equipment is connected, you can join others live for structured group workouts or social runs. You could do a solo workout or take part in one of the many in-game challenges. You could also pit yourself against people from all over the world in a race. There are various Zwift worlds. Some are based on existing places like London, New York, Innsbruck, Richmond, Virginia and Harrogate in the UK. But the biggest world is the fictional Watopia, where you can run in glass tunnels underwater, through the middle of a volcano, in a jungle, up to the top of a snow-capped mountain and on country trails. Watopia is where the Zwift developers let their imagination fly. Like any computer game, the more you run, the higher up the levels you climb and the more virtual goodies you require. If you're a regular treadmill runner, Zwift is going to transform your training. If you're a hater, Zwift is going to change the way you think about indoor running. Before we go any further, if you're watching on YouTube, please click that subscribe button and the bell icon so you're notified every time we go live on this channel. If you're watching on Facebook, please click the like button on the Film My Run page. Film My Run is also my other YouTube channel where I post real world runs, so if you're interested in marathons, ultra running, 10Ks or triathlons, you'll find product reviews, interviews and races over on that channel. I've been running all my life. I started running long distance races in 2011 when I ran my first half marathon, and that was followed a year later by my first marathon in Paris. I've run the Paris Marathon every year since and have now run well over 100 marathons and ultras. I started using Zwift at the beginning of 2015 when indoor cycling and smart trainers really took off. In the early days, I held the long distance record for cycling of 500 kilometres on Zwift for about 48 hours. And when running started in 2016, I was the first person to run a marathon on Zwift. So if you have any questions about Zwift, if I don't know the answer, I probably know somebody who does. Okay, so now you can go and take the trash out and get that drink. And make sure you keep an eye on that countdown and be back in time for the start proper. Well, go on then, don't just sit there gawping at me. Basically, this message is going to go around in a loop again and again until the start of the run, so you may as well go and do something constructive in the meantime. Hello and welcome to this Zwift Run live stream. My name is Stephen. I'm a Zwift ambassador, a community run leader and your host today. There's a countdown clock up there showing how long to go before the start of the main event, so you've probably got time to tidy the kitchen, take the trash out and grab yourself a drink before we get going. If you've never seen Zwift before, it's an online game where athletes from all over the world train, compete against and socialise with each other live and in real time. All you need to take part is a footpod, an internet connection, access to a treadmill and a device on which to run the Zwift app. You can use a computer, an iPad, an iPhone, a high-end Android device. Zwift even works on Apple TV. If you have a smart treadmill, you don't even need a footpod, as your treadmill will send your speed direct to Zwift. Once you've logged in and made sure your equipment is connected, you can join others live for structured group workouts or social runs. You could do a solo workout or take part in one of the many in-game challenges. You could also pit yourself against people from all over the world in a race. There are various Zwift worlds. Some are based on existing places like London, New York, Innsbruck, Richmond, Virginia and Harrogate in the UK. But the biggest world is the fictional Watopia, where you can run in glass tunnels underwater, through the middle of a volcano, in a jungle, up to the top of a snow-capped mountain and on country trails. Watopia is where the Zwift developers let their imagination fly. Like any computer game, the more you run, the higher up the levels you climb and the more virtual goodies you require. If you're a regular treadmill runner, Zwift is going to transform your training. If you're a hater, Zwift is going to change the way you think about indoor running. Before we go any further, if you're watching on YouTube, please click that subscribe button and the bell icon so you're notified every time we go live on this channel. If you're watching on Facebook, please click the like button on the Film My Run page. Film My Run is also my other YouTube channel where I post real world runs, so if you're interested in marathons, ultra running, 10Ks or triathlons, you'll find product reviews, interviews and races over on that channel. I've been running all my life. I started running long distance races in 2011 when I ran my first half marathon, and that was followed a year later by my first marathon in Paris. I've run the Paris Marathon every year since and have now run well over 100 marathons and ultras. I started using Zwift at the beginning of 2015 when indoor cycling and smart trainers really took off. In the early days, I held the long distance record for cycling of 500 kilometres on Zwift for about 48 hours. And when running started in 2016, I was the first person to run a marathon on Zwift. So if you have any questions about Zwift, if I don't know the answer, I probably know somebody who does. Okay, so now you can go and take the trash out and get that drink. And make sure you keep an eye on that countdown and be back in time for the start proper. Well, go on then, don't just sit there gawping at me. Basically, this message is going to go around in a loop again and again until the start of the run, so you may as well go and do something constructive in the meantime. Hello and welcome to this Zwift Run live stream. My name is Stephen. I'm a Zwift ambassador, a community run leader and your host today. There's a countdown clock up there showing how long to go before the start of the main event, so you've probably got time to tidy the kitchen, take the trash out and grab yourself a drink before we get going. If you've never seen Zwift before, it's an online game where athletes from all over the world train, compete against and socialise with each other live and in real time. All you need to take part is a footpod, an internet connection, access to a treadmill and a device on which to run the Zwift app. You can use a computer, an iPad, an iPhone, a high-end Android device. Zwift even works on Apple TV. If you have a smart treadmill, you don't even need a footpod, as your treadmill will send your speed direct to Zwift. Once you've logged in and made sure your equipment is connected, you can join others live for structured group workouts or social runs. You could do a solo workout or take part in one of the many in-game challenges. You could also pit yourself against people from all over the world in a race. There are various Zwift worlds. Some are based on existing places like London, New York, Innsbruck, Richmond, Virginia and Harrogate in the UK. But the biggest world is the fictional Watopia, where you can run in glass tunnels underwater, through the middle of a volcano, in a jungle, up to the top of a snow-capped mountain and on country trails. Watopia is where the Zwift developers let their imagination fly. Like any computer game, the more you run, the higher up the levels you climb and the more virtual goodies you require. If you're a regular treadmill runner, Zwift is going to transform your training. If you're a hater, Zwift is going to change the way you think about indoor running. Before we go any further, if you're watching on YouTube, please click that subscribe button and the bell icon so you're notified every time we go live on this channel. If you're watching on Facebook, please click the like button on the Film My Run page. Film My Run is also my other YouTube channel where I post real world runs, so if you're interested in marathons, ultra running, 10Ks or triathlons, you'll find product reviews, interviews and races over on that channel. I've been running all my life. I started running long distance races in 2011 when I ran my first half marathon, and that was followed a year later by my first marathon in Paris. I've run the Paris Marathon every year since and have now run well over 100 marathons and ultras. I started using Zwift at the beginning of 2015 when indoor cycling and smart trainers really took off. In the early days, I held the long distance record for cycling of 500 kilometres on Zwift for about 48 hours. And when running started in 2016, I was the first person to run a marathon on Zwift. So if you have any questions about Zwift, if I don't know the answer, I probably know somebody who does. Okay, so now you can go and take the trash out and get that drink. And make sure you keep an eye on that countdown and be back in time for the start proper. Well, go on then, don't just sit there gawping at me. Basically, this message is going to go around in a loop again and again until the start of the run, so you may as well go and do something constructive in the meantime. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Film My Run on Zwift. My name is Stephen Cousins and we are broadcasting live on Facebook and on YouTube. While we're getting everything ready, it would be absolutely awesome if you could go and subscribe to the Film My Run YouTube channel and also the Zwift Live YouTube channel. You can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/filmmyrun and also Twitter at filmmyrun, and the website is www.filmmyrun.com. It's very nearly time, so sit back, relax, don't forget to drop me a ride on and watch me do all the hard work. Okay, welcome to the Zwift Run Live YouTube channel and the Film My Run Facebook page. This is Zwift and we have a little test going on today during Monday Run Club. This is our weekly progressive run that we do and we're just about to start. 4, 3, 2, 1, here we go. And we're going to do a little test today of Zwift's, of Stryd's run pods. We have 2 run pods today on my left foot and my right foot, and if you look at the screen you can just see 2 Stryd and one just called Dot Stryd, which has just gone off the screen. Now the plan is to run this 10.6 kilometre progressive run and see how well the 2 Stryds can keep up. If you've got any questions, I am watching Facebook chat, I'm watching YouTube chat, So if you want to ask me a question, please pop it down in the Facebook chat. If you're watching on the Stryd community channel, and by all means ask me a question, you know, pick my brains about it, and I'll do my best to kind of answer any questions you have. But the idea is that I've got on my right foot, I have the latest version of the Stryd Footpod. So that is the Stryd Wind. Now it doesn't make any difference here on the treadmill, but we're using the Stryd Wind on my right foot. On my left foot, we have the older version of the Stryd Footpod. Now in theory, there should be no difference between the two in terms of the distance they're able to cover and their measurement of distance and pace. However, we know that there are various things that will affect the measurement of the stride. One is where you place the foot pod on your foot. Another is how firmly attached it is to your foot. And a few other things that I know Gus Nelson has mentioned in his comments underneath my live stream feed on the Stryd community page. If you're watching on there and you want to comment, you do need to make sure you click onto the Film My Run Facebook feed. Now right at the moment I can't actually see any chat, and that's unusual. Normally there is some chat, so if you are talking, if you are messaging me and asking questions, I can't see them at the moment, so I might have to do a little bit of looking around to find your chat. Now, but you can already see 2 Stryd is 7 seconds behind. I'm running on the My Run treadmill. Now the My Run treadmill is about $3,000, $4,000, £3,500 here in the UK. It's a domestic treadmill, but it's a very good domestic treadmill. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's correct. What we know about the Stryd is it is one of the most accurate footpods at measuring your speed. So it's up to you whether you want to believe that I am currently running at 10.9 kilometers per hour, or whether I'm actually running slower than that. Tina Beard says good evening, so hello Tina. Thank you for making me fully aware that the Facebook feed is working, so Facebook chat is definitely working. Let me just turn the camera angle around so that you can see the other strides. Stryd 2 is 9 seconds behind. You can just see it on the list there. On the right hand side there's a list of names of people running in this group run, and Stryd 2 is on the right hand side, 1, 2, 3 below me, and it's 9 seconds behind me at the moment. Now again, just to make this clear, we are not testing the accuracy of my treadmill. It doesn't matter what my treadmill says. What we're testing is how closely the 2 strides match. Remember, the old Stryd and the new Stryd. So the new Stryd is the one that is further back. So that's 14 seconds behind at the moment. You can see now both my strides are on the screen. Stryd 2 and dot Stryd. Stryd 2 is 15 seconds behind me. Stryd 1, sorry, is 15 seconds behind, going at 5:45 per kilometre. Number 2 Stryd, which is the older Stryd, is going at 5:36, 5:33, 5:32 per kilometre, and is currently 11 seconds behind. So you can see them both together now, in fact, just behind me. So you've got Wanda Archer, who is running for the USA, 1 second behind me, and then both of my Stryd Footpods. Remember, both attached to me, so it's the same human being running on the same treadmill. The speed of the treadmill is neither here nor there really, Unless you want to argue about the accuracy of my treadmill, but that's not what we're here for. We're here to argue about which stride is correct. And if it matters, does it matter? Any comments you have would be greatly appreciated. Any thoughts, by all means, stick them in the chat. If you're not watching this live, of course, if you're watching this after the event, then just follow it through. You can scroll through if you want to see what the finished result is. Number 2 Stryd has stopped. Bit of a dropout there. Right, let me tell you the other thing that's happening. Stryd number 1, which is the newer Stryd, the Wind, is on my iPhone. And Tom Sunder, no, there's no calibration on either. So they are both completely uncalibrated Stryd Footpods. So Stryd number 1 on my right leg is on my iPhone, and my iPhone is literally on the table right next to me. Stryd number 2, the older Stryd, is on Apple TV, 4K, and Apple TV is about a metre away on a table. A little bit lower down. Oh, I should be going a bit faster. But we did just have a dropout. They're both on Bluetooth as well, by the way. So both Stryds are on Bluetooth. There's no ANT Plus going on here at all. Tom Sunder, same generation Bluetooth? I think so. There's no reason why they shouldn't be. And the My Run treadmill is also Bluetooth. If I'm honest about your question, Tom, I don't know. Louis, hello to you. Says Stephen, hope all is well. I've signed myself for a triathlon in September and did a trail run yesterday. Well done, Louis. Good job. So if you've never seen this before, this is Zwift. This is our virtual running platform. And we are running Monday Run Club, which is a group run. And it's a group workout session. And let me just hit this button here and you can see what the arrows, what everything means on the screen. So that's 1 mile of warm-up done. This blue archway here. And there's my speed, by the way, on the treadmill. Now 12 kilometers per hour on the treadmill. So 12 kilometers per hour on the treadmill. Again, you can argue whether the treadmill is accurate or not. Doesn't matter. That's what it says, 12 kilometers per hour. That's what the Zwift is reading, 12 kilometers per hour. Now maybe, because of drag on the treadmill belt, or whatever it might be, or the lack of power of the treadmill motor, maybe the reality is that we're running slightly slower than that. But really, for this test, it doesn't really matter, because the test is about the 2 Stryd Footpods. The older Stryd on my left foot, the newer Wind Stryd on my right foot. And currently, they are definitely slower. Although oddly, And very interestingly now, one of the strides, the Stryd 2 seems to be getting a lot of dropouts. So although it's running faster, you can see the speed of it, 5.08 per kilometre, 2 dot stride, and dot stride, which is ahead, is 5.17 per kilometre. The reason 2 dot stride is behind is because I think we're having some dropouts with the signal. Tina Beard says she did MRC today in Group D. First run since her shoulder break. Slow but good. Well done, Tina. Good job. Jeff Hoover says, all calibrated the same. Yeah, well, there's no calibration at all. Jeff says he's at work in the US and can't wait to watch the video right now. Very curious how they compare. Jeff, yes, they're on 0 calibration. So no, I haven't calibrated them at all on the Zwift calibration tool. And they are both going, one's going direct to an iPhone. That is the one on my right, which is the Wind. And that is dot stride. And 2 dot stride is the older Stryd, and that is connected to Apple TV, which is about a metre away, but it does seem that we're getting 1 or 2 dropouts, because although it's running faster, i.e. 5.07 per kilometre as opposed to 5.14 per kilometre, it's behind because it's been dropping out. So that's a bit unfortunate. Herbert Crabell says his heart rate monitor is crazy. Crap heart rate monitor, he says. Louis says, how long is MRC? Oh, well, this run is 10.6 kilometres, so it's going to be about 50-55 minutes. Thank you for the ride-ons, those are dropping there.
Ride on!
Sisutham, thank you. Now, interesting. They do keep altering. There's a lot of difference between the strides. They do keep moving in their speed, even though, remember, the treadmill is remaining the same at the moment. Thanks for the ride on again. Daniel says, would you say the most reliable, consistent connection is via the treadmill? Not necessarily. I mean, it depends how near your device is to Zwift, to the device that's running on Zwift. So you want to try and keep your devices as close together as possible. If your treadmill is using Bluetooth but is a long way away from the device that's running Zwift, then you might still get dropouts. Somebody's asked, will I do another test with both Footpods calibrated? Yes, I can do. No reason why not. I mean, it kind of defeats the object in a way, because Stryd will tell you, Gus will tell you that you shouldn't need to calibrate the Footpod. The Stryd is accurate out of the box without calibration. That's the argument. However, a lot of people do find they do need to calibrate it. Now, in theory, if I calibrate it, they will match the treadmill and we'll be going at the same pace. But is that correct? So, how do you know? If you calibrate it, why are you calibrating it? Because the Stryd, arguably, the Stryd is giving you the correct pace. what you have to decide is which stride you want to believe. Do you want to believe the Wind, or do you want to believe the older Stryd? I'm getting a bit annoyed with the older Stryd losing its connection with my Apple TV, and I'm tempted to move the Apple TV. I'm tempted to stop and just move the Apple TV a bit closer just to see if that prevents any of the dropouts. Because it's stopped again now, look. Lots of Bluetooth dropouts. Okay, I am going to stop. And we're going to move the Apple TV. And we'll just be trying to... I'll get back running again. Right, we'll just see if that helps. My wife has helped me lift the Apple TV. Oh, I thought you said somebody else had asked the question. Right, back up to 12.3 kilometers per hour, and we've moved the Apple TV, so hopefully we get fewer dropouts because it's closer. Fingers crossed. And so, number 2 Stryd and number 1 Stryd, or dot Stryd, are now going to fight it out, although number 2 Stryd is a long way behind now. So number 2 Stryd is the old Footpod, the old Stryd. Number 1 Stryd, the one in front, is the new Stryd. Oh no, we're still getting dropouts, look. Tom Sunder says it would be interesting to see the same test done on Ant Plus as well. Yeah, we could try it on Ant Plus. Now look, the Stryd 2 is completely stopping, even though we've moved the Apple TV closer, which is a bit annoying. Jonathan Cost in Group B is now in between my 2 Stryds. So unfortunately, that is making a bit of a mess of the test, really. And do you know what? I've done this test before, and I haven't had the same level of dropouts as I'm getting today. Jonathan Cost says he's running with number 2 Stryd. Except number 2 Stryd keeps stopping and starting. And that's the one on my left foot. Should we swap them over? Should I swap left foot to right foot and see if that makes a difference? Right, I've moved Apple TV as close as I can possibly get it now. See if we still get dropouts. We're coming to the end of this section, and we're going through the arch, and we're going to speed up. That's my current speed, 12.3, go through the arch, and now up to 12.6 kilometers per hour. Marty Gorman says he went back to the Zwift pod, found it more accurate to the treadmill. Stryd kept going faster. Interesting. Normally, you would find the Stryd going slower than your treadmill, but not always, and there's one example. Marty Gorman says his Stryd Footpod kept going faster than the treadmill. Now, I don't want to jinx it, but it does look like the Stryd on my left foot is doing a little better now that I've moved Apple TV really close. And you'll notice that Stryd number 2 is going, actually no it's not now, they are matching up pretty well. 459, 457, 458, 459. Maybe number 2 Stryd is slightly quicker. Tom Sunday says, do you have any other Bluetooth signals running around the room as well? Maybe other wireless signals? Oh yeah, plenty of signals. So we've got the 2 Stryd Footpods. We've got the Bluetooth signal from the My Run treadmill. We've got wireless internet moving around the room, which is also 2.4 gigahertz. What else have we got? We've got the 3G, 4G phone signal from my iPhone. So, and also any interference caused by the lights and the fan. I've got a fan running. So there's plenty of signals around. But I think it does look like it's a little bit better now. Oh no, there we go, just dropped out again. Typical. Both Stryd Footpods are fully charged. But I have to say, the Stryd on my left, the older Stryd, I've not actually noticed this problem before. And I have run with both Stryds on my foot on the treadmill quite a few times. And this is the first time I've noticed major dropouts. Perhaps it is just because I'm watching carefully, and maybe I've just never noticed it before. Thompson, this is with all those signals, I should wear a tinfoil cap.
Right on!
Okay, Monday Run Club. We have got 6.3 kilometres left to run, and we're doing a progressive run. So we're just getting faster and faster every kilometre. I think, to be fair, on Stryd number 2, there are fewer dropouts. Although there are dropouts, there are fewer dropouts now that it's closer to me. Or now that Apple TV is closer to me. Louis says, how are you streaming? I think he means streaming, not steaming. How are you streaming? Well, I'm using a program called vMix. I'm sending the Zwift signal from one computer into another computer, which is managing the streaming. All the cameras are going into that computer as well. And then I'm mixing it all in vMix. Ace Ventura, hello to you, buddy. And then we're streaming out to Caster, which is then rebroadcasting out to YouTube and Facebook and Twitch. So we're live on the Zwift Run Live channel on YouTube and on the Film My Run Facebook page, and we're testing 2 Stryd Footpods today. We're testing distance and pace, and we're not worried about the speed of the treadmill. We're well aware that any treadmill is prone to being incorrect. Currently my treadmill says I'm going at 12.9 kilometers an hour, but I'm fully aware that could be wrong. But we're not bothered about that. What we're bothered about is the difference in speed between the 2 Stryds. The one on my left foot is an older Stryd Footpod, The one on my right foot is the newer Wind Stryd. Ace, when you say you can't film my run, what do you mean? Offshore work, okay. No worries, buddy. So currently we have a big difference in distance between the stride on my right foot and the stride on my left foot, but the reason for that is unfortunately dropouts from stride number 2. Stride number 2 is the older stride on my left foot, and although when it's running it looks to be running the same speed or slightly faster than stride number 1, it's 2 minutes behind stride number 1 because it's been dropping out regularly, and that's very frustrating. So I think we will have to do this test again and try and get a bit more of a reliable connection, even though the stride on my left foot is literally now less than a metre away. It's right beside Apple TV, right beside me. Ace, looking forward to having you back on the platform, buddy. And you can see when number 2 stride is moving, it is moving slightly quicker than number 1 stride. Only a little bit, but it's definitely quicker. But it's just dropping out far too often to get a reliable picture. Daniel, DIY Tech Repairs, hello buddy.
Nice.
And Mr. M on YouTube says, any idea what causes that weaving about during events? A bug. Unfortunately, it's been around for a few weeks now. They haven't fixed it yet, but it didn't used to happen. It's a relatively new thing, so we're hoping they'll get it fixed. So the question we could also ask, I guess, if we're looking at stride number 1, which is 1 minute 30 seconds behind me currently. So we've got me, and then we've got W Archer, which is Wanda Archer, and then we've got Dot Stryd, 1 minute 30 behind. Is that one correct? Or is my treadmill correct? Or is the stride number 2 correct? Even without, if we pretend we hadn't had the dropouts, if we pretend we haven't had the Bluetooth dropouts, is stride number 2 the more accurate stride? Remember, uncalibrated. Both strides are uncalibrated. Okay. We sped up again. We've got 4 kilometres of effort left to go, and then a cool down at the end. Ace Ventura is out on an oil rig, working his socks off. Well done, buddy. Louis says the weaving has been like that for about 4 months. Yeah, it's probably getting on for about 4 months now, I would have thought. it start with the last Watopia Run Festival, when they did the update to that. So stride number 1 is moving at 4:49 per kilometre. The My Run treadmill is going at 4:32 per kilometre. Which one do you believe? Stride number 2 is running at 4:40 per kilometre. So slightly faster than stride number 1. Only a little bit faster. But loads of dropouts, which is why it's nearly 5 minutes behind now. Both strides are fully charged, by the way. It's so easy to get set up with Zwift running. Here's what you need. Firstly, access to a treadmill. It could be at home or at the gym, but any treadmill will work with Zwift. To get you moving in game, we need a speed source. Traditionally, we use a Footpod, like the Zwift Pod or the Stryd, but you can also use the Run Smart treadmill sensor, your Apple Watch, one of the newer Garmin watches, the TSS app, and if you have a smart treadmill, your treadmill will connect directly to Zwift without the need for another device. Now simply download the Zwift app onto a Mac, a PC, an iPhone, an iPad, an Android device. Zwift even works on Apple TV. Finally, pair your speed source in the app. Pairing heart rate from your watch or a chest strap is also a great addition to Zwift. And that's it. You're all set up for solo runs, solo or group workouts, challenges and real-time racing on Zwift with people from all over the world. So welcome to Zwift. We're testing 2 Stryd Footpods. Unfortunately, we have technical errors, but this is real world running. This is how it will be if somebody attached their Footpod. And we have one Stryd Footpod which is managing all right. It's the newer Wind Stryd, and it's only 1 minute 46 behind my treadmill. So you can believe that Stryd if you like. You can believe that my Techno Gym My Run £3,500 treadmill is wrong, which I am perfectly happy to admit it might be. My other Stryd is now a long way back. Look, there it is, 5 minutes 26 seconds behind, and the reason is because we're getting lots of Bluetooth dropouts, signal dropouts. Now the Stryd that's getting the dropouts is connected to Apple TV, and I've moved during the course of the run. I've moved the Apple TV closer, so it's right beside me. There is less than a metre between the Footpod and the Apple TV box. But I'm still getting the dropouts, which is very frustrating. And if you had this Stryd Footpod and you connected it to Apple TV, you know, this could be happening to you. And it might be a very frustrating experience. Well, I'm sure it would be a very frustrating experience. Jonathan, are you trying to stay with Stryd number 2 then? That's very kind of you to try and keep Stryd number 2 company. The thing is that when it's moving, stride number 2 is actually going slightly faster than the more modern stride, the Stryd Wind. Oh, I'm going at the wrong speed. I should be at 13.5. I'm not following the instructions correctly. Matthias says it makes virtual racing impossible. Well, I guess so. I mean, if you're going to have these problems, whatever footpod you have, whether you've got a Zwift pod, a Stryd, a Run Smart treadmill sensor, you want to make sure, you want to be confident that it's going to connect and it's going to stay connected. Now, of course, it may be that I have a lot of interfering connections in here, which are causing the dropouts, but somebody who's not very technical, if they want to run on Zwift, they don't want to be messing around with wondering whether there's lots of interfering Bluetooth signals or 2.4 gigahertz signals flying around the room. All they want is to know that their footpod will connect. They don't care how it connects. They don't want technical dropouts. They just want it to work. Now, to be fair to the Stryd Wind, we've had no dropouts at all from the Stryd Wind, which is connected to my iPhone. My iPhone is now about 1.5 meters away from the footpod on my right foot. Stryd number 2 rather, is on my left foot, connected to Apple TV, less than 1 meter away. But we're still getting dropouts. Right, speeding up now. The last 2 kilometres now of effort, 13.8 kilometres per hour, and then the last effort is 14.1 kilometres an hour. So 2 kilometres, 3 in full. We've got a kilometre of cool down. Paul Hayward is saying the weaving of the runner avatar only happens in group events. So if you're doing a solo run, you're suggesting it doesn't happen, Paul. So Ryan Downey says a potential fix for dropouts would be to have a signal carry over in the absence of new input until it gets another signal. Yes, so it just kind of stays with the pace that it had before until it receives a new signal. I guess that's one way of doing it. And Mr. M agrees with Paul Hayward. Yes, the weaving does not happen with workouts or free runs, so it's only in group activities. Interesting. So Stryd number 1, 2 minutes behind, going at 4:30 per kilometre. The My Run treadmill going at 4:20 per kilometre. That's 10 seconds per kilometre difference. Stryd number 2 is 7.5 minutes behind, but it's also going at 4:30 per kilometre. So that's interesting. I'm good, but now we've got another dropout look, which is why it's so far behind. So Monday Run Club is a progressive run, so it basically just means that we get faster and faster for each kilometre that we do. We're coming up to the penultimate pace increase, up to 14.1 kilometres per hour, and then we've got a 1 kilometre cool down period. Matthias says they are almost at equal pace now. Yes, they are. That's interesting, isn't it? Because in previous runs where we haven't had the dropouts, we found that the older Stryd is actually a bit quicker and keeps pace a little bit better with the treadmill, whereas the Stryd Wind seems to fall behind a bit further. Okay, final kilometre of effort before the cool down kilometre. Heart rate 161, cadence 175-ish. I would still say number 2 Stryd is slightly quicker most of the time. Only by a bit though. Into the inferno we go, back into the volcano. Stryd 2 disappeared off the screen now. Ryan Downey says he thinks placement is an issue with the Stryd. Well, I've got them both as low down as I couldn't get them on my shoe. Both as flat as possible on the shoe. Ryan says perhaps buy some clown shoes and put the Stryd on those. See what happens. Yeah. So, the Stryd Wind is right behind me, 400 metres behind me, 2 minutes 17 seconds behind. It's going 10 seconds per kilometre slower on average. 12 seconds slower. Very disappointed in my old faithful Stryd though. It's normally so good. Honestly, it's let me down today because the old Stryd is normally rock solid. Maybe next time I'll attach the newer Stryd to the Apple TV and the older Stryd to my iPhone and see if that makes a difference. Ryan Downey's offering to run in stilettos with the footpod really high up the foot to see how much difference that makes.
Nice.
So, coming to the end of the effort, 100 metres or so to go, and then we'll be into cool down. 9.5 kilometres done. The stride of my right foot has done 9 kilometres.
Nice.
Right, let's see if we speed up or slow down now. Staying at 14.1. So we will do this test again, but I will swap the footpods over and I'll have them on the opposite feet, but I'll also connect them to the opposite devices. James Stanger says he's just finished. Well done, buddy, good job. We've got 800 metres left. Carol Rushworth, thank you for your ride arm. Oh, we don't seem to be slowing down. Oh, there we go. Finally.
Thanks for giving my dad a ride on.
Paul Hayward, thank you very much. So the Stryd Wind has not done too badly. It's only 500 metres behind, over 10.6 kilometres. And remember, we're not saying that my treadmill is correct. There's 10 kilometres done. My wife is volunteering to run in the stilettos, but she thinks I would look better in them, or at least be more entertaining in them. So gradually slowing down. Stryd is still 500 metres behind, 2.5 minutes behind, and it looks about 10 seconds per kilometre, maybe 12. Let's say 12 seconds per kilometre slower. Than the treadmill. So perhaps there is some slowdown on the treadmill. Is the Stryd Wind completely accurate? What is accuracy? Who knows on a treadmill? And really, who cares? Because what I'm looking at is that on the left hand side there's a load of heart rate which tells me I've worked pretty hard into zone 4 for a good few of those kilometres, and I've been running, you can't trick time, I've been running for 49 minutes. So 49 minutes of work at least, and at least I can see 3 of those kilometres in zone 4. So I know I've worked, I know I've put the effort in. So who cares how far I've run, really? Stryd number 2, the Stryd on my left foot, the older Stryd, has died a sorry death, has had lots of dropouts, and is way back now, probably 8 minutes or so behind. Not because The speed is poor, but because we've had lots of technical dropouts, which is a shame, but never mind. We'll try the test again another day without the dropouts. Somebody else said they would like to see it with Ant Plus connections, so I'm sure we can do that one day as well. Right, there we go. That is Monday Run Club done for another week. Slow down to walking pace. Yes, somebody else was asking how many Bluetooth, Tom Sunder I think was saying, how many other Bluetooth connections or how many other wireless signals do you have in the house, in the shed here? I also did have my Bluetooth headphones until about 5 minutes ago when the battery died on them. So, we are now back in the normal world where we have all the cyclists listed on the right hand side in the list as well. So the Stryd Footpods, both of them are miles away, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to just walk it out a bit so that the strides both finish the workout. Let's just see how, you won't be able to see this, but I'm going to change over to Apple TV so I can see how far behind stride number 2 is. Well, that's a nice little graph there. Look, you can see the kilometre splits on the left hand side of the screen. Nice yellow zone 3 and then the last 3 kilometres in zone 4. Okay, stride number 2, oh my goodness, has just passed 9 kilometres. And I can see on the screen lots and lots of dropouts, lots and lots of little glitches in the... I wish I could show you it. I must find some way to get Apple TV on the screen for you. But yeah, I am now looking at Apple TV on my big screen right here in front of me. Yeah, so it is still a long way off finishing, a mile away from finishing, just with so many dropouts. Interestingly though, now that I've slowed right down, there are no dropouts. It's very interesting. So the fast paces, there are lots and lots of Bluetooth dropouts. But now that we've dropped down to a slower pace, I can see I haven't had any dropouts for the last few meters, which is interesting. Why would that be, anybody? Anybody any idea why slowing down to walking pace, my stride is giving me a very good solid signal? Stride number 1 has 200 meters to go to the finish. Stride number 2 has 1,500 meters to go. I think what we might do is not complete stride number 2's efforts, but we'll get over the line for stride number 1, and I'll save that on my iPhone. And what I might do is I take a photograph, if I can, of all the dropouts on the stride 2 screen. That's an interesting thought, Tom. Tom's saying, is it since the Bluetooth headset died? I don't think so, because now it's running. Why is he running now? My Stryd Footpod is running. That's very weird. Why is he running at 6? It can't possibly be. He had a burst of speed then and started running. Weird. Tom Sunday, so the mile difference is because we've had all these dropouts. So that's why it's a mile behind. Now the signal, I think my headphones were off quite a way before the end of the run. And we've got lots and lots of dropouts all the way to the slowdown, all the way to the end when I slowed down. Stryd number 2 is running again, but there's no change of speed on the treadmill. I'm walking on the treadmill at 6 kilometers an hour. And the Stryd is making lots and lots of speed changes. Okay, so Stryd number 1 has finished. Stryd number 1's done. So I'll save that. Right, now I'll use my phone and I'll take a picture of the screen. See if I can show you. Right. So, hang on, I'll stop now. So I don't start while I'm wandering about everywhere. And you see that screen. So there's the photograph of the screen that I'm looking at. So that red area at the bottom, you see all the lines that go down, those are dropouts. Oh no, go off. And then we move, then further over here, the blue section is where I've slowed down, and that continues for a long time with no dropouts at all. Very weird. Right, that's it guys, we're done. I will do this test again. Thank you for watching, thanks for the comments. That is the end of Monday Run Club for another week. Buenaventura says, is it a faulty device from the factory? No, because I've ran plenty of times with it before and it's been rock solid. It's absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong. There's something about today. It's some environmental factor today has caused the problem. I don't know what it is. But yes, without the dropouts, I would say they're both very similar, but the Stryd 2, the older Stryd, is just a bit faster. If you can go and look at my video of my jog around France, which was a couple of days ago. No, was it Friday? I think it was Friday, so about 3 days ago. And I did the same then. I used both my Footpods, and you will see there the video. There's no dropouts, and the older Stryd is quicker. It keeps up with the treadmill more than the newer Stryd. The newer Stryd tends to fall behind a bit more. But I'll have to prove it to you again, or show you again, or do another test again another time without the dropouts. We must try and do something about finding a way to stop those Bluetooth dropouts. But that is it. Jonathan Cost says he's toast.
I'm toast.
They are regular. Yes, the dropouts are regular. Sorry, yes, they are. Tom Sunder says the dropouts are very regular, which is interesting, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, so we're done. That's it. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you for all your helpful comments on the chat. We'll be back tomorrow to do something tomorrow evening UK time, and maybe we'll put both Footpods on again and try and get this thing working without any dropouts. Right, thank you very much guys, take care, see you soon, bye bye.